conquerors approach and the danger is high. You have to come together as paladins and work as a team, and you have to be ready to be part of the universe's most legendary defender. Then, when the universe needs you, you can form the mighty Voltron. The greatest hope of the universe is coming to a role-playing game made by Catalyst Game Labs. The dice core system used in Voltron, the role-playing game, is easy to learn and use while providing great depth of play. As you roll a pool of 3 dice determined by your skills and attributes, your decisions and circumstances can make those dice better or worse. So what you choose can have an instant impact. Back now and join the fight to defend the universe. There are 3 constants: cold, work, and the moan. The first is an ever-present danger. The second is our best weapon to fight it. And the third is proof our weapon is working. That the tools we have built to preserve us from the ice and snow are keeping them at bay. The world we knew ended 10 years ago. The great frost descended and the cold never relented. There are no more seasons. No more warmth. Things we took for granted in our old life, food, trees, comfort, are difficult to come by. It is a hard life, but it's the only one we have. We go forward, day after day, driven by the same words that spurred us on since we migrated north. The city must survive. Frostpunk, the award-winning video game from 11-Bit Studios, is becoming a tabletop role-playing game from Catalyst Game Labs, longtime publisher of Shadowrun and BattleTech. This society-building game pushes players to consider what they will do to preserve the fragile cities that they have built. Take on a variety of roles, from medic to engineer to hunter to explorer and more. See what you can do to build a society, confront crises, and overcome dangers of the continual cold. The choices you will face will not be easy, but they cannot be avoided. What will you prioritize? What will you value? If you keep hope in your people and reduce discontent, you can build something that lasts. But if things go poorly, people will let you know. You could find society crumbling around you and perhaps be into the cold with no hope of return to warmth. Using the new Dice Core role-playing system, the Frostpunk role-playing game offers an easy-to-learn, fast-moving system that puts your character's decision at the center of any session, and allows you to try and build and maintain a city that somehow manages to hold people together. Back now for your chance to play an entirely new kind of RPG. When threats emerge in the universe. When the galaxy needs your help. You can form the mighty Voltron. 5 brave fighters and their powerful lions join together to defend the universe. The greatest hope of the universe is coming to a role-playing game made by Catalyst Game Labs. The dice core system used in Voltron, the role-playing game, is easy to learn and use while providing great depth of play. As you roll a pool of 3 dice determined by your skills and attributes, your decisions and circumstances can make those dice better or worse. So what you choose can have an instant impact. Back now and join the fight to defend the universe.
Hey there, everyone. Sorry for that delay. Camera, some lineup issues, so I just fixed that quickly in between. Welcome back to Tuesday Newsday. I'm back from PAX Unplugged, so I'm a little low energy. But I'm here with the copious, high energy Ray Arrastia and and Aaron Cahall. How are you guys doing?
Good. Doing great, thank you.
Awesome. You've both been on the show before. So we've got the line developer for BattleTech and the assistant line developer. I wanted to get them on here this week because we had some tech difficulties during the PAX stream during the BattleTech segment. So I wanted to give them their moment to weigh in on some of the new stuff. And then we'll turn most of this into an AMA for BattleTech. So in terms of news for you guys, since we did all the announcements last week at or over the weekend at PAX Unplugged. It feels like a week ago already. So just to give you guys a little taste of what we said and did, let's see. So for BattleTech, we talked about the upcoming releases, releasing Mercenaries finally into the world. And then we also talked through BattleTech Aces and did an actual play of co-op and solo mode. So we'll talk a little bit about that with these guys. Then for Shadowrun, we talked about the release of, or the announcement of Anarchy 2.0. So the new edition of Shadowrun Anarchy. We did an actual play of it. Super like it. The World of Shadows group is actually talking about switching to Anarchy for season 3 now. And the two big differences for our Shadowrun fans out there, since we're going to focus mostly on BattleTech today, one is that your dice pool, you can split out any number of dice you want for a different color dice, and those are your risk dice. So every hit, 5s and 6s, count as 2 hits instead of 1, which is great, but all of your 1s count as individual glitches. So 1-1 is a minor glitch, 2 1s is a critical glitch, and 3 1s is disastrous. Now you do have shadow amps and stuff that can help offset those glitches, but it's basically adding gambling into Shadowrun. And then the other big difference is that we are adding advantage and disadvantage. So advantage means that 4s, 5s, and 6s count as hits, and disadvantage means that only 6s count as hits. So those are the two big differences, biggest differences in Shadowrun Anarchy 2.0. So yeah. So that's the news on Shadowrun, other than some book releases for next year. For RPG Division, we talked about the Voltron Kickstarter, which is live right now on Kickstarter. So you can follow the link in BackerKit mods. If you don't mind putting that in the chat, that would be great. Then we've got Frostpunk should be coming early next year is our final hope. And then I think A New Hope is one of the scenarios. So our New Hope is for February. We've got a Kung Fu Panda one-page RPG for Free RPG Day, and then Wizard Riders, which is Sons of Anarchy meets Magic, is in Q3 or Q4 of 2025. So that's our RPG news. For board games, we've got a whole lot coming. I haven't gotten to watch those ones yet, so I'm not sure everything they talked about. But they did talk about Flippin' Ninja is our earliest release for this coming year. We talked a lot about Runefire, had a chat with Paizo, and did our first recorded actual play with Paizo for Runefire. So that was super exciting. For those who don't know, Runefire is our Shadowrun Crossfire that then turned into Dragonfire, the same system, but skinned for Pathfinder now with Paizo, with a few new tweaks and nudges. So really exciting stuff, really great working with them. And for board game division as well, we've got a Kung Fu Panda board game coming. We've got the Voltron board game that is included on the Kickstarter. and a whole bunch of other things coming that I'm not sure we can talk about yet, or they might have announced and I don't know yet. So I'll talk about them next week if that's the case. But that's kind of where we are for. And then our new release of The Lock. We talked about The Lock. So this is in collaboration with Tommy Rice, who's a former NFL player, actor. He's going to be in a huge video game we can't talk about that comes out next year. And he's been in some Amazon shows lately and Netflix and stuff like that. But he's a sweetheart, and he has this book that he has written called The Lock, and it combines sci-fi and fantasy, and he's turned it into a minis game that really held against Randall and Bryn's scrutiny. And so that is coming to Kickstarter later this year. We didn't announce when yet. The minis are gorgeous. The art is gorgeous. If you haven't gotten a chance to watch it, it was Saturday morning's stream. It was the first stream on there. So the first hour you can learn all about it. And then finally was the Leviathans update, which is everything has been handed over to the manufacturer. And we are hoping that everything gets shipped. I can't remember if it was right before or right after Chinese New Year in late January. And so if everything stays on track, we are looking to ship in or start to fulfill in March or April. So stay tuned for more news on that. If you want all the details, that was the first panel we did on Friday. So you can watch Friday's stream, the first hour, to get all the Leviathans news. So there we go. I think that's everything. So guys in chat, please start thinking about your AMA questions that you want to talk to Aaron and Ray about. But in the meantime, guys, we talked a little bit when we weren't chopping up and losing ya about some of our new releases. So I know we've had the past couple weeks, we've had Joshua Franklin and Stephen Toropov on talking about Hotspot's Hinterlands. How do you guys feel about that project and what it does for the lore of the universe?
Talking about the. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go on, Matt. I was
Pass it
introing
to you.
popcorning it, as they say.
That's the Hotspots Hinterlands. Yes. Let's see. So that series of books picks up where the Mercenary box set leaves off with the revamped Chaos campaign system, and takes a close look at the Hinterlands area in 3151, where players can use that book to create campaigns for their mercenary group, or using the box set create new groups to play. We've had a lot of good feedback about the Hinterlands. It's sort of the modern Chaos March, where anything goes, and you could have a lot of great stories and campaigns take place there. Following on that released this month or the tail end of last month, I believe.
That
Then
was
the last month,
yeah.
Black Friday,
Yeah.
or somewhere around there.
So we've got the same team also working on a follow-up for the Hotspot series, taking place in the Draconis Combine / Federated Sons border. And so we're taking a look at that area in the aftermath of the Federated Sons taking back the Dragon's Tongue and their capital system.
Awesome. What
Aaron.
book is that?
Yeah,
Hotspots.
yeah.
Hotspot's Draconis Reach.
Ooh.
Runs Reach, yeah.
When
Yeah, that's
do we know when we're expecting that? Is that 2025?
Correct.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. What else, Aaron? Anything else you want to add to that?
I would just add to reiterate something I tried to say on the PAX stream. I'm not sure if it came across that These books are really important to us, and they're important because, for a lot of the last decade, a BattleTech source book was sort of like Encyclopedia of Fake Future History, Volume 6. I'm thinking of things like Shattered Fortress, even the Clan source book, where it's a lot of story. And then, like with Shattered Fortress, which I do like as a book, it only had a little bit of gameplay material kind of jammed in the back. But that's not historically what source books have been for BattleTech. They were always game aids. They would take what was happening in fiction and help you bring it to your table. They would explore corners of the universe with an eye towards getting you to play in them. And for a number of reasons, source books drifted from that, not having fiction being the big one. We had to tell the meta story in source book form. And when I say we, I mean Catalyst, not necessarily Ray personally, but going back. The Hotspot series is so important because it reverses that. This is a book, Hotspots, Hinterlands, and Draconis Reach are books that are not story first. That story is in Tamar Rising. For the Draconis Reach, that story is in Dominions Divided. The story elements are already out there. But this is how do you and your friends, your group, your LGS, whatever it may be, get that to the table. All right, we have all this detail. We know what happened, in this time frame in this area. How do I get to be a part of it? How do we get to take our plastic and join in? And I think these books do it. With Joshua and his team have done a great job with these of really making the Hinterlands more than an interesting concept or a cool new area, a theoretical kind of thing, and making it very real, putting it on tables, making people engage with that meta story. Some people like just reading the story, and that's okay. But fundamentally, the story is played out on the table. It's a tabletop war game, right? So while that sounds obvious, these books are really a big realignment back into that kind of product.
Awesome. All right, so the next source book release is coming in January, pending shipment arrival, is Ilkhan's Eyes Only. So what can we expect from that book, and what are you looking forward to most?
So that's the last in our current line of source books that tell the story of after the battle for the Ilklan. Over the next 18 months, we go through what's been happening behind the wall on Terra and in the vicinity around Terra with the forces of the Capellan Confederation, and what happens when that wall finally does come down. So like the previous 3 books in this cycle, it gives us that little chunk of space and it updates us through that year and a half. But it takes us a little bit further and gives us an overall overview recount of everything going on in the Intersphere, even beyond what we saw in the prior 3 books. So this one caps off that cycle of source books, and it's one that we've been waiting literally a few years at this point to circle back and see what's going on.
Cool.
So there's a lot of excitement built up for it.
Aaron, any thoughts? You're muted, bud.
Sorry, my kid came down to ask for math homework help. This was the toughest of the 4 to make. We knew it would be. We left it to last for several reasons. One, because the focus of the story had been on Alaric for so long and through so much product. We needed to kind of pause and see what was going on elsewhere, aside from the Ilklan. But the other part is, frankly, it was going to be the hardest one. It was going to be the most difficult part of the story, both to figure out, to make land. That the dog caught the car. So what happens next? I think working with John, Jason Schmetzer, Ray, and myself, we were able to get the broad strokes. But I would, as I did on the PAX stream, shout out Eric Saltzman, Wenji Lau, and Steven Tarapov and Joshua Perrion as the project lead for their hard work in breaking those big blocks down into actual story beats in this the source book. I think people are going to like it. I know there's a lot of animus against Alaric in the fan base, that people just want him to catch that L as soon and as hard as possible. But I think we can do better. I think we can set it up. Something Ray has said all along is, Alaric's uppance will come, as it does for almost everyone in BattleTech. but we want to put the work in to bring that character so full circle that you almost feel bad for him when it comes. That we'll have built that character into a favorite. And it starts here. It's not that we're trying to force any particular thing, but we want the consequences of all that's come before to play out, and to play out in ways that feel real, that feel earned, that and again create great gameplay, that create potential. It's a universe of conflict that create chances for you to put some of those battles on the table.
Awesome. So you mentioned the next Hotspots book. Are there any other source books that you are allowed to talk about that are coming in 2025? You're muted, Ray. We're just going to pass the mute button back and forth.
Yeah, that's the conk. The Force manuals, will be continue on with them. The next one in the series will be Mercenaries, Force Manual Mercenaries. And we are already close to production on Invading Clans. Force Manual Invading Clans will follow that. And we're in the early stages of development for Force Manual House Steiner. So those will continue on. There is the second Hotspots book, which should be out around this same time, 2025. It may go into 2026, but right now we're looking at 2025 for that book, follow up on Hinterlands. What else can we talk about?
Well, I think we've had some pitches, some discussions about other types of source books, things, looking back into the FASA era, types of game product that were not an incremental part of the universe or the next volume in the series of whatever, trying to explore different corners of the universe, different types of campaigns. I mean, still BattleTech, still mechs, but different ideas, concepts other than you're part of a military force even, so we're trying to go back and really draw inspiration from the previous golden age. We're in a new one now, but the previous golden age of FASA, to look at what sorts of products are they putting out, other than scenario packs and tech readouts. Where can we go? Because we do have fiction. John and his team are cranking out the story. They're telling the story. So now that we're sort of liberated from having to do that as the sole focus of game side product, what can we do? What else is possible? What do people want? What makes the game the most playable version of itself?
Cool.
Right. And that's how we're approaching developing new products. But it also is a genuine question. What would people like to see to aid them play the game? So we are, other than what we've discussed, we're slowing down on plot source books for the moment, while the fiction expands that space that we've created. And we're mostly, aside from what we mentioned, we're focusing on the rule side of the products.
Awesome.
And slowly revamping and developing there. It's been a much longer process than we had expected, but the rules themselves go back 40 years, and the current iteration of rule books is at
16.
Right, I was thinking 17, or the point is it's getting close to 20
06 was the first Total Warfare printing, first Man Pro. So you're 16, almost 17.
We're in the process of reviewing and revamping that line for the foreseeable future.
Cool. Okay. So aside from source books and aside from fiction, what about the force packs that are coming? What are you looking forward to most that isn't... I know we had so much as part of the Mercenaries campaign that was coming out, so I feel like there's just little spots here and there of new force packs, but what can you tell us?
Specifically, and everything we have lined up, I look forward to when we start doing the purely faction-oriented packs, which will start off with 2 for the Federated Sons, one which focuses more on clan invasion era, and then the second pack will focus mainly on Ill Clan era. And that's kind of the model going forward. The next set that will come after that will be the Draconis Combine, and again, 2 packs for that. I'd like to see how they're received. People like us doing them in that more focused way, or what. And honestly, what I look forward to is going back and retooling things. We have a plan set out for about 2 years worth. It's changed since we first published that, and it'll change further. And I enjoy whenever we go back and revisit that and see where we need to tweak. For instance, Fox Patrol is one in big demand, so we put that on the list. And the next time we get together, I'm probably going to push to throw that as far up as we can, as soon as we can.
Cool.
I guess I would say I'm most interested. I think we've announced this or talked about it in certain formats. The upcoming Ares Super Heavy Force Pack, right? We've discussed this, right? This is for those who don't know, the Ares is a 135-ton super heavy tripod mech, sort of an emblem of the Republic of the Sphere, which one of my favorite factions. And I'm interested not just obviously because of my interest in the faction and the mech itself, but as sort of to see how that's received. So the idea is that it would be the Ares has many configurations, like an Omni-Mech, has different pieces, different types on a basic hull. The Force Pack, the intent is to have the basic chassis with all the different variants, all the configurations possible as bits in the box. That's the furthest that I'm aware of that we've pushed into having a multi-part kit, into having bits. You know, we've done little different head or a different dorsal gun for the Dragonfire and the Black Remnant pack recently came out of PAX Unplugged.
Yeah.
But I'm interested to see how it's received, how it goes over, how it looks in the pack. I think that's kind of an exciting new space because anyone who knows BattleTech, who plays it even for a little while, figures out that there's so many chassis, but there's even more variants. And to get in that realm of how much customization, how many options can we give a modeler, a hobbyist within a single force pack is cool. I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
Okay. Awesome. Anything else coming for 2025 that you are super excited to share?
The rules, right, I already hit on that. I think the work that Keith Hahn is doing is,
yeah, there's
overdue.
Yeah, I suppose the 2 sides to that answer for me would be watching everything from the Kickstarter campaign finally hitting the stores and finally getting it to wide release. And on the other hand, one of the things that we're working on that nobody will see next year until the year after or even later. I'm really excited to get into some of the work that we have in store for us. It's not anything I could really describe or get into, but that's the kind of delays we face with the products that we make. So on the one side, making the new stuff, on the other side, seeing it finally get out there after all this time.
Is it hard to get back the excitement after you're excited working on it and then it sits and waits and waits and waits and waits and then finally it's going to be released and is it hard to get excited again sometimes?
No, that's the thing. That's the payoff. It suddenly hits out of nowhere and gives you strength to keep on going.
Good.
Yeah. So it's one of the things that we look forward to the most is finally seeing people have the stuff, use it, play with it, and enjoy.
Awesome.
Especially when we've been talking about a lot of these products for a little while. There's kind of that hype that builds up, and to see that pay off when folks finally get that. I think I've always said that as we've gotten better, as you and your team have gotten better about getting word out about upcoming products, that the downside to being informed is you can't be surprised.
Right.
I work in marketing, so surprise is not a good thing necessarily. It more turns into confusion and alarm. But to be able, like, people ask, well, what else do you have coming in 2025? Well, I mean, that's the roadmap. But people know about these things and they get excited, and to see that, someone finally get the book they've been waiting for, that we've been waiting to put out, but that they've been waiting to get, they've known about and looked forward to, is really cool.
Awesome. Okay. Well, let's switch on over to questions, if that's all right. I've got a bunch for you. From Double O Dog on the BattleTech forums, any word on when the premium Battlemaster and Wolverine will be added to the web store? Were those at Gen Con? Do you remember?
I don't recall. No, I'm not sure when they'll go up on the web store. I don't have that information.
Premium. I can write that down and circle back. Battlemaster and Wolverine. That's a different department that gets them on the website, so I can ask. From Fat Guy on the BattleTech forums, when will the patches from the Mercs Kickstarter be available for sale? I'm not sure on swag releases yet. Have you guys heard anything?
No, I haven't seen that listed in the schedule.
Yeah, me neither.
Your list focuses on retail. I mean, when things go through distribution,
Yeah.
and those wouldn't.
Right.
At least they
Right.
didn't last time. So that's a good question.
From Mercs. I'll follow up with Randall on that, and we can get a plan together, because it'll probably be up to us. Is there any update on EU Kickstarter fulfillment? Not. Are the packages still in customs? I haven't heard. I usually follow up with QML on Mondays, and with yesterday's travel day back from PAX, I haven't gotten to send them an email and follow up yet. But we will, still work to get a backer update out this week. It's just a little more delayed than we're usually able to get. But I don't know what the update is until I talk to QML. So stay tuned. Mahi Mahi asks, if we can't get awesome warship battles and scenarios in Ilclan, can we get some in SL, SW, CW, JHD eras? Tactics of Desperation scenarios were amazing, and I'd love more of them.
Well, I mean, Ilkhan's Eyes only has some aerospace and warship action. If you're asking about scenarios in terms of like written out scenarios, I don't know that we've
Right.
done.
I'm not entirely sure what the question is.
Can we get warship
Just-
battles and scenarios for any of the other eras besides Ilclan?
Yeah, they're asking for so battles in terms of stuff in the story that you'll see in the upcoming source book in Ilkhan's Eyes only. As far as scenarios, I don't know that we have anything at that scale in any books. We haven't, and when I say again, the Royal We, I don't know that Catalyst or its predecessor companies have done anything like that in a while.
Yeah.
The rules are there, but in terms of like a scenario, I mean, you're talking about, Ray, they're talking about like a battle all the way back to like a Battle Space 2 box, or
I don't think I've seen anything like that in 25
years.
plus years.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at my
And
shelf
there's a reason for
off camera here and way back into like some of the older books and stuff. So
Okay. Core Hammer says there was some discussion in the Discord about where the tendency to field CVs in matched pairs came from. Care to weigh in on the origins of that?
why are mechs and lances of 4? I mean, these are like question,
Yeah.
find dear Jordan Weissman.
Right.
Really, I mean, it's been
right. It's something that goes back, so it's way before our times. There's a lot of military tradition that goes into the roots of all that. Why are they called lances? Why is it made up of 4? When you get into the divisions, brigades, all that stuff, there's tradition behind it, but I don't know any of it. It was before our time, and their guess is as good as ours, honestly.
Cool. Core says, fair enough. Beware the
That was-
Quimens asks, can we have Flare LRMs back?
No.
I love when Ray just gives blatant responses.
How will you tell people where you are? Oh,
That's
Let's make
amazing.
them legal on the 4th only.
Only on the 4th. Needful Things asks, can we get 1 or 2 light mech focused packs to flesh out our armies? They're supposed to be the most
So,
common, but it feels like my force pack collection is heavy and assault loaded.
yeah, it's one of the things we seriously discussed, and it exists as a note on our master list, is to do a bug company. Instead of a force pack, we would have a company box of 12, and it would probably be made up of 3 or 4 of the most common bug mechs, like Locust, Wasp, Stinger.
Cicada or Valkyrie?
Yeah.
Valk's usually the one that goes with it in that bracket, but it's not a bug, I know.
Right. It's when you get to the 4th slot that there's a lot of contenders, but something like that, 3 or 4, just repeated in that box. But it's not on the schedule. It exists to the point of at least being a note to revisit.
Okay. Lorcan Nagel asks, any update on the Brush Wars PDF?
Boy, my / Eric Saltzman / Johannes Heidler's baby. 3 men and a baby. We have plans. The problem is the layout pipeline. It requires layout assets that we just don't have. The idea, for those who don't know, Brush Wars was a series of 2 source books, separated by like 10 years. And the idea had been to do installments of 3 in a season and release it as 3 PDFs and then a collected edition. And Eric and Johannes, I handed development of that over, and it actually came out of an old pitch, 12-year-old pitch from back in the Herb days of Line Developer that we retrofitted into this thing. But we need layout right now. 100 and more than 100% of our layout ability is claimed by either BattleTech projects or other Catalyst projects. So, and I would even put, like, it's neck and neck between that and print on demand as to which we would do first. If we suddenly, if 2 layout people fell from the sky, 1 on each, great. But if we only got 1, Brush Wars is close to my heart. I have one of the drafts. It was the first thing I ever wrote for BattleTech back in 2013 about the St. Ives War. I want to see it more than anyone. I name dropped one of my nephews in that, who was a baby at the time, and he is now in 8th grade.
Oh, wow.
So when we talk about long gestating stuff, no, I know it's close to my heart. It's never far from my mind, but I can't, we can't. Sorry, Okan's Eyes Only is going to be delayed 6 months while we do a PDF to POD project. Like, that's never a debate I'll win. Not with Ray, not with Randall, certainly not with Lauren. So
okay. Liberal application of Thunderbolt says ELH dice pucks and Great House athletic shirts back in stock when. I'm not sure about the dice pucks, but I know that we're waiting on a t-shirt order to kind of go through around the end of the year, the beginning of the year. So that should be soon. I'm not sure if ELH is on that list or not. But and then I know that there's dice pucks that are coming to us from QML when Kickstarter is finished fulfilling. And again, I don't know the 60 freaking dice pucks that are on their way. But stay tuned. Hopefully they're there. And if not, you can always put order requests in if you send an email to store@catalystgamelabs.com. They'll email them to our swag person that orders that stuff. Let's see. Matanuska Mechworks asks, are all the Force manuals planned for up to clan invasion only? Will they all require the supplementary PDFs to bring them up to clan era compatibility? And how much will the supplementary PDFs cost?
Yes, they're all going to get an equivalent clan era PDF upgrade. The print versions are all set in the late Succession War through the late Clan Invasion era. As far as pricing, we don't have that yet for the supplementals. We should have, once we get the first two in the can, we'll have more information about them. So, and again, those will be the Davian and Karita supplementals.
Cool. Turbo Turtle asks, when will the PDF updates for Force Manuals Karita and Davian be out?
That's Craig, by the way, folks. Hi, Craig.
Hi, Craig.
Craig. I think he's asking when will the errata, or maybe he's talking about the PDF. I think he's talking about the Oakland PDFs. Yeah, okay.
Probably first quarter.
Okay. White Fox asks, any plans for Destiny RPG sourcebooks?
Don't have anything slated at this time.
Is there any update we have on anything for RPGs?
In development, we don't have anything to talk about yet.
Okay.
Early development. In case
Gotcha.
anyone wants to ask next week, it'll still be early development.
G Stillings asks, has there been any consideration for offering the new plastics individually as opposed to force packs?
No, I don't really have any reasoning that I could give, but since we started on the plastics, it was never going to be an option. If that changes in the future, near future, long-term future, I don't know. But going in, it was always going to be packs, force packs on our end.
I want to shout out one thing real quick because it came up in that question. I saw they said, "Oh, somebody responded. It's because of the license. That's IWM's thing." I don't. That's something that's been out in the community for a long time. So just while we're rumor quashing, I don't think that's like specifically the reason that we can't do blister packs because that's what IWM does and the light. If that's the case, neither Ray nor I could speak to what's in the license exactly, but I think it has more to do with shelving, with the way force packs are.
It is a company decision. It's not something
it's
forced on us. Because I could point out all the individual stuff that we do sell. We have individual packs. We call them salvage boxes. But you get the salvage box of the what was the clan mech that we did? The was it the blood?
The blood asp?
The blood asp. If you buy that, you're getting the blood asp. That's an individual mech that we sell. We got that with the original Irby, I believe. Just you buy the Irby in the pack.
Visigoth is one, I think.
And someone just pointed out the Ares. The Ares is a single mech with bits. So
so it's not a licensing thing. It's just a company decision that.
And spare thought for your LGSs. I mean, already, and much love to IWM. Ironwind Metals, our partners. If you like pewter, you like metal. They're doing some great stuff in the Clan era mechs that are coming out that we don't do. So check them out. But it's a lot of SKUs for them, and it would be a lot of SKUs for us to add all up and down the pipeline. If suddenly every mech that we've done, we'd be adding what, like 180 more individual SKUs. That's what you need, Ram. You need more. I think let's get that spreadsheet even bigger.
Yeah.
Oh, I know it's gonna keep growing, but as long as it's organized, I don't care. And then I can be like, when release dates get broken and stuff like that, I go, not my fault. Look, it's organized. Question with a little extra context from Enental here. So I know there were some personal issues and a tragic death with the MUL team earlier this year. Are there any new plans, new updates that you can share?
Not at this time. Just that we're working on it.
I want to go a little further, Ray, to say that Josh Perrion is moving forward. It is not moving, because I did see that come up in a different forum recently where it's on hiatus, it's on a developmental pause. It's not. Josh is doing heroic work to keep this thing to recover from the loss that team suffered, and to try and keep this thing moving amid losses of his own. So It's one of those projects like Brush Wars. It's very close to my heart. So it's not. I mean, we're meeting with them. We're gonna keep it moving. It's not gonna drop off.
Yeah. Okay. And then we only have 3 minutes left because I did promise Aaron and Ray that they could go a few minutes early because they both have other obligations.
I have division homework to go do.
Other
Fourth grade.
obligations.
Fourth grade math homework.
Matt Nuska MechWorks asks, what plans are being made for improved logistics to getting all these products into our greedy mitts? Well, in terms of, like, we're always... There's things in progress. There's still, you know, conversations happening with international hubs. There's a new website that's being worked on that's coming that will allow us more ability than we currently have to do things like affiliate programs and things like that. There's a lot being worked on behind the scenes, but we're just hesitant to say, like, when anything is going to happen until either contracts are signed or... You know, I can say like, oh yes, by next month we'll have a website or something like that. And then all of a sudden it gets delayed for whatever reason and it's 3 months later. So things are being worked on behind the scenes, but I don't have anything that we can really talk about this. I'm getting cued from Dave right now. That we're going to go ahead and mention whether it's been posted or not, I think. We are doing a Hinterlands AMA with Josh Franklin this Saturday in Discord, I believe, right?
Right.
What, do you guys know what time on Saturday? Or Dave, you want to type in the Google Doc for me so I can see it?
First time hearing of it.
What was that?
First time hearing of it, but now I'm interested. I want to check it out.
Yeah, yes, he's typing to me 4 p.m. Eastern. Any other info? Okay, so go to the CGL Discord. I think the link is in the description so that you can join our Discord server, and we will be doing an AMA this Saturday, I believe, at 4 p.m.
You can steal nukes on one of the contracts. You can just break the contract and steal the nukes you were supposed to save. And they put stats for what it does to your reputation.
Awesome.
It's fun. Such a good book.
Awesome. So we'll hopefully see you there for the AMA. Thanks, Dave, for queuing me in and typing at me in the Google Doc where all the questions are kept. But I'm going to let you guys go because it's 10 till. Thank you guys so much for being here. Thank you guys for all the great questions. Anything else you guys want to say before we sign off?
We appreciate everybody who buys, plays, enjoys the game, talks to us about it. Really do. It's so amazing to see it played. To walk into one of my local game stores and see a game I actually didn't know about of BattleTech happening is unthinkable.
Awesome.
5-6 years ago.
Awesome. All right. Well,
Thank you, everybody, for your support.
Yeah, thank you.
We appreciate it.
And we'll see you guys next time. And we should be, next week is the 17th. So I think we should be here for Tuesday Newsday. So we'll see you then. And everyone have a great week.
Thanks all. Have a great day.